We're live. Riley, welcome.
Thanks for welcoming me.
So, as we're waiting for Facebook and YouTube people to join us, I'm sitting here thinking about how horrible the air quality is in Denver.
Yeah, it was a few days ago I saw some news story that it was rated the worst in the world.
Of like a
Um,
major city. Yeah.
yeah, at the current, as of that time, keeping in mind that the reason why it's so bad right now is due to the smoke coming from those fires in California and Oregon.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because we had plenty of wildfires here in Colorado last year. But apparently, in order for us to have really bad air quality, we need wildfires in California and Oregon. I'm no meteorologist. I don't get it. I'm sure there's logical explanations.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I've been kind of like seeing these graphics and stuff showing how the smoke moves along with the jet stream and everything, and how that draws the smoke into the Front Range area where we're located.
So be it. Welcome everyone who's tuned in with us live right now on Facebook and YouTube. If you'll quickly go to the comments and let us know where you're joining us from, what state specifically would be really nice. It's kind of fun to see people all over making the time. Right now it is almost coming up on 6:30 p.m. Eastern and 3:30 p.m. Pacific. So wherever you are, we appreciate you being here with us today. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a role reversal. I'll be hosting, Riley's going to be the guest, and we're going to be doing the rapid fire format. Now, if you're not familiar with rapid fire, don't worry, you're going to catch on. I'm going to explain the rules of the game show here before too long, so don't be too concerned. Bill's here from Texas, Peter from Hawaii, Tony from Texas, and he's got a smiley face. Robert's from Colorado. Crow Magnum is from Louisiana. Grayson from Utah. Matthew from Colorado, Wayne from Arizona. Man, we're doing pretty good. A lot of Mountain West going on, some Texas. So we do have some Louisiana that's out there. So, at some point, Riley's going to have to answer some questions about where he doesn't want to live later today. We're going to see what he says. Hopefully, he doesn't say Mandeville, Louisiana, because Magnum's going to be very upset. Mark is here. Welcome, Mark. All right, so folks, this is going to be a really fun episode. We're going to start recording here in a moment, but basically today, the topic is like we have 35 of them. I got this list of questions, and I'm going to ask these questions to Riley. I've prepared these questions in advance. He had no input on the questions, and he's going to have only 60 seconds or less to answer them. So it's kind of a boom, 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 boom kind of thing, and it's going to be kind of wild and fun and exciting. And we're gonna hold him to it. Oh, Casey says she's also in Louisiana, so no talking about Louisiana. Mike's on the left coast in Communist Republic. We think we know what he's talking about. And Luis is in Texas. Welcome. All right, Riley, you ready for this game?
Thumbs up, dude.
All right, we're going to start recording in 3, 2, 1. This is the Concealed Carry Podcast, Season 3, Episode 10. Welcome to the Concealed Carry Podcast, part of the concealedcarry.com network, sponsored and brought to you by XS Sites. Today is August 11th, 2021, as we record this, and it's going to be a bit of a fun role reversal format today. Today, I am your host, Jacob Paulsen, and I have a guest here with me today. You probably have heard of him. His name is Riley Bowman. Welcome, Riley.
Yeah, I'm not even co-host. I am guest.
You're guest today. You don't even get co-host controls. You talk when I tell you to talk.
Okay.
So it's a role reversal, and we're doing that because today we're playing our game show. We've played this once before when I had Brian Eastridge on as a guest, and we call it Rapid Fire. So today is Rapid Fire with Riley Bowman. Let me explain the rules of the game show, and then we'll briefly mention our sponsors.
Game show. I didn't know I signed up for this.
This is a game show. Yeah, like there's no prizes.
Oh, dang.
You get a pat on the back when you're done if you don't screw up.
Maybe I can get a sticker at least.
A sticker. Yep. A concealedcarry.com sticker. Do we have stickers? You can get a Guardian Nation sticker. We have one of those. I can't remember if we have concealedcarry.com stickers.
I was just I had a Guardian Nation one here somewhere, but
yeah, you can get a Guardian Nation sticker. That's
all right.
Done. If you complete the game show successfully. Here are the rules of the show. I have a list of questions I have prepared in advance. Riley had no input on these questions. He has seen some of them, though I added a few after he looked that he doesn't know about. But he had no input on what the questions were. So I will be presenting these questions to Riley, and he will have no more than 60 seconds to answer any one of them. And ideally, we'd like to see shorter answers than that. Most of these will probably be answered in 30 seconds or less, but he can't give a long old explanations and disclaimers. He just has to give it to us how it is. Just boom, here's the answer. And that's how that goes. And so, presuming he can do that, he'll get the gold sticker on his forehead at the end. So that's the plan. Now, quickly, today's sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Foundation Belt by EDC Belt Company. The Foundation Belt is the most comfortable, awesomest EDC belt for carrying a concealed gun every day with normal clothes. Yeah. So you can find out more about them. You can find it at concealedcarry.com or you can find it at edcbeltco.com. And also today's episode is brought to you by the Hunters HD Gold glasses. They are shooting glasses that are, to call them fancy, I feel like doesn't quite do it. First off, it's more like hardcore than fancy. Fancy feels too like lightish and kind of wimpy. Like these are like hardcore glasses. They're serious, and Riley wears them every time he goes shooting and at all of his competitive matches. And they're very heavily involved in the competitive shooting industry. And Riley will get a chance to tell you more about them later today because I got a question on my list specifically about that. So you can learn more about them. We have some Hunters HD Gold products for sale on concealedcarry.com. In our shop, you can go there and click on eyewear or huntershdgold.com probably. I'm sure you could Google it. It's 2021. We expect you to be able to find a product.
Actually, there's a link in the show notes, concealedcarry.com/huntershd.
concealedcarry.com/huntershd for high definition.
You can also, for the foundation belt, you can do concealedcarry.com/foundation belt will be a direct link to the product page as well.
That's smart. Did you do that?
I try to make it easy for people.
Good job. That was smart. Okay, good. Cool. All right. So with that in mind, are you ready for rapid fire, Riley?
Yeah, fire away.
Okay.
Knock them dead.
Some of these first ones are pretty easy, but don't worry. We got some tough ones lined up here. Riley Bowman, 9mm or 45 or other?
9mm.
Okay.
Next.
Favorite brand of earmuffs?
These days, Ready Up Gear Roger 22s with the soft seal gel ear cups.
Yeah, that's the difference maker. So that's a $70 outfit, with those two products. Excellent job.
So every person I've handed those to and like, here, try these out. They're like, I tell them ahead of time, I'm like, the audio quality on these is surprisingly good and the comfort's great. So they put them on. They're like, yeah, you're right. The audio quality is better than many much more other expensive brands.
Yes. And it's convenient that we sell them. So that makes me feel good. Best admin light and best tactical light.
Admin light, the Surefire, is it the staccato? Yeah.
Stiletto.
Or stiletto. Yeah. Similar sounding word. The stiletto. Thank you. And the tack light. Oh man, that's a little tougher. Because I really want to join that mod light gang. I want to get one of those big boys. And I think those are probably the best tactical lights. Just if I'm speaking truthfully in terms of best. But the one I carry most these days is the Ready Up Gear Spark.
Yeah, because you're a shield and you have to, because we sell those.
Which, I mean, okay, so I found my old light from another company that's similar in size, and I remember it being the same size. It's actually a little bit bigger. The modular compact flashlight, the MCF Spark that Ready Up Gear sells, is actually smaller and is brighter and has a tighter throw. It like blows away what I used to think was a pretty cool little compact EDC light, but on all accounts, it's a great little light. Huge value.
Yep. Mark mentions it gets a little hot after a couple of minutes. Yes. The Spark is not intended for use with a 16340 battery for an extended period of time. It gets a little toasty. Best weapon mounted light.
Surefire X300 or TLR1 from Streamlight. Either or. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me.
You're no respecter of those two lights.
They're both great lights.
12
So
eyes. Rank the following in order of priority for everyday carry. Okay, so I'm going to give you 4 items, and you have to determine which of these is most important to carry on you, every day. These items are a tourniquet, spare magazine, pepper spray, and a fixed bladed knife.
priority order. Okay. Tourniquet. I guess I'd have to go with pepper spray, and then spare mag, and then fixed blade knife.
Okay, tourniquet, pepper spray, spare magazine, and then the fixed bladed knife. Fixed blade knife. Yes, I can do that.
The good thing is we don't. It doesn't have to be this or that, right? Like we can
Sure.
actually carry multiple of those things.
Yeah, all 4, no problem. Yeah. But that's the order you would prioritize them.
That's how I would prioritize them in my life and the way I do things.
One U.S. city you never want to visit. I mean, if you die having never gone to this city in America, you think you'll be better for it.
One U.S. city I never want to visit. That's of any size?
Doesn't matter.
I could never visit Rock Springs, Wyoming again, and I wouldn't care.
I didn't see that coming. Okay. Well, for those who don't know the joke, that's my hometown. I was born and raised in Rock Springs.
I mean, you're not missing anything by not visiting Rock Springs. And I don't think you disagree with me on that.
There's some beautiful plateaus. Gorgeous.
Okay. How about
plateaus.
major city? I'll give you an answer for major city.
Okay.
That
major U.S. city.
That one's a little bit tougher because, like, I think there's a lot of cities that are probably interesting and they all have various points of history. But I'd have to go with major U.S. city. I guess over 100,000. Is that how we'd classify major?
Sure.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's go with. Oh, people are gonna hate me, but how about El Paso, Texas?
El Paso, Texas. I've been to El Paso for a number of times.
I mean,
so I have an opinion.
Like, I don't know. It just came to me. So sorry, El Pasonians.
But if Riley never goes there, he won't feel bad for it.
I can't think of, like, there's probably something historically about that city that's significant or something that I just don't know about. But, like, I can't think of anything that would draw me to El Paso. Like San Antonio, I can see, New York City, like, it's got reasons, like, whatever, like Miami. I mean, I don't know. El Paso. I just can't think of anything.
Fair enough. Best concealed carry position.
Appendix carry.
Why?
Because it's best.
Keeping it under 30 seconds.
Appendix carry because for me, it is a combination of security and retention, ease of access from a variety of positions and situations, and it's fast and intuitive, right? Like, it's just right there. Low telegraphing, easiest surreptitious draw, as far as the traditional on the waist options are concerned. So, I mean, there's many great reasons why carrying on the front of your waist is a good option.
If you had to choose between the following 3 options, which would you choose? Your 3 options are an apparel holster, off-body carry, or an ankle holster.
Is this like, this is in addition to like where you normally carry, or this is assuming for whatever
your only
reason?
Gun.
Okay. Ooh. That's an interesting one. Okay, so if I had to choose only one of those, not apparel, that'd be out. Off body or ankle. See, like, on the one hand, off body could afford me a little bit bigger more capable gun. But ankle would be attached to me. Ankle's compromised in the draw in some respects, but so is off body. Oh man. That's a really good one.
Thank you.
I think I'd have to go with I'd go with, I guess, off body, like in a sling bag or backpack. I think that's what I'd have. I think they're both really close to me as far as like I could do either one, but there's some aspects I don't like about ankle carry.
Choose the best from the following four options: DASA, striker fire, DA only, SA only.
Striker fire, because that's what I am most familiar with. That's what I use primarily these days. But for most shooters, striker fire it's just a good system. It is it's the same trigger press every time you fire the gun, which is the same advantage of a single fire only or double action single action or double action only. But it's kind of like it's halfway between a single action only and a double action only, right? And a single action only, you're generally only going to find on 1911, and I don't think a 1911 is the best choice for most people. So, in the double action only, not very fun to shoot. So striker fired right in the middle, man, and it's what most popular handguns are designed around these days too. So yeah, that.
Okay. Next, 3 concealed carry holster brands that you love.
That I love.
Mm-hmm. You love them. Awesome holsters.
Well, first it'll be Filster, which is what I carry concealed with pretty much all the time now. The second one would have to be LAG Tactical, which is what I use for outside waistband stuff, especially for competition use. And they, in full disclosure, they are a personal sponsor of mine in the competitive shooting sports. A third one that I love. Good question. There are good options out there.
I can't think of a third good holster.
Well, so here's the thing. I guess I'll tell the truth about something. I'm going to say keeper's concealment, but I've never actually worn a keeper's concealment for an extended period of time. But I know it's a quality holster and it's made by a man that I respect. And I'd like to try one out at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But we sell them on our website, and I know they're a great quality, comfortable, well-concealed holster.
What gun did you carry 10 years ago?
Springfield XDM 45 Compact.
2011 Springfield XD 45. Why is Idaho so great, but yet Wyoming is better?
Well, because the pioneers, had they liked what they saw in Wyoming, they would have stayed there. Instead, they kept pushing onward. And I guess you could use the same logic. Well, then they kept going on to Oregon and California, but Idaho is awesome because it's grown a lot in the last decade or so, but it's still relatively low population. It has just about anything that you could possibly want, outdoors wise. Has all 4 seasons of weather, which I think is great. Beautiful mountains, beautiful trees and forests and hills and lakes and rivers and all that. Yeah, I mean, and it's shaped like a gun. There you go.
Something you changed your mind about relative to guns and self-defense in the last 5 years.
In 5 years, something I've changed my mind about. That's a good one. I kind of expected that would come up, and we've certainly asked that question of people we've had on as guests before. And it's a great question because it's one that can always change and evolve with the individual as they change and grow. And I would expect that a question or an answer to a question like that would change as a person should be expected to continue to grow in their knowledge and experience and so forth. I would say that something that's changed, I'll go with some related to something self-defense related would be in 5 years, man. How about I go with shooting then? How about that? Just how important vision is. I know that's not like a very specific answer, but like what we tend to get so wrapped around the axle with a specific gun or gear we're using, or so wrapped around about whether it's a grip or a trigger thing or whatever. But your vision is so important. Like you can't shoot faster than what you can see. And so the number one factor that helps us to shoot, like what we can always do better and faster so we can shoot faster, is actually see and focus on that thing that we're trying to shoot sooner. And I wish I had understood that 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. One trainer other than you that everyone should take a class from.
Rob Latham. So
Rob
yeah.
Latham. Why?
There's many trainers, and I hate to leave any of my friends out and guys I've trained with, but like he is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He's the best ever that we know of in history to shoot a handgun. So why would you not want to train under him? And I've had that pleasure a few times, and I have enjoyed every moment of it, and I have learned so much from him. I have much to thank him for.
The one thing you would change about law enforcement today, if you could only change one thing.
More training. That's an easy one. Law enforcement needs more training in a ton of disciplines and areas of their job. All of the issues people are concerned about that in this last year or two, as people have been talking about defunding the police and all these issues and blah blah blah. I mean, like all of that could be solved with greater resources put into the training of our officers on our streets. And
What's
I'm
the
not just talking about
best?
shooting. I'm talking about communication skills, de-escalation skills, hand-to-hand defensive techniques and combative skills, the whole gamut, all of that. They don't get nearly enough training. They get just enough that their higher ups think that's good enough to avoid liability or to minimize liability, but they really need more.
What is the best gun or self-defense related app on your phone?
Oh, interesting. I'd have to go with the Range Tech Shot Timer app because it runs my favorite shot timer, and it gets used for me. It gets used more than my other favorite app, which is the Concealed Carry Gun Tools app.
I mean, you probably have a lot of apps too, because I mean, I know you the Practice Score Competitor app is one you probably use often.
Yeah, that's a good one. Also, like for ballistics information, the Strelock Pro app is pretty rad too, and I've used that a bunch, particularly when in my 3-gun days.
Mm-hmm.
Very handy.
Yep. Is the Tacoma a truck or not?
Well, first we have to define truck. And coming from a family of truckers, meaning my mother and my stepfather both drove semi trucks for part of their career, or in the case of my stepdad, pretty much all of his career. And so making my trucker heritage proud, a truck is a truck, and that is not a pickup. So a Tacoma is not a truck in that, just like my F-350 technically is not a truck. They are pickups.
So we have a vocabulary conflict here. So does the Tacoma qualify as a pickup?
Technically, yes.
Technically, yes.
Is it on the same plane as my F-350? No.
Do you carry with the round in the chamber?
Yes, of course. Why wouldn't
And
you?
would you if you had a 1911, or any other comments about how that might change if you're firing
Yeah.
1911?
Cocked and locked, baby. Round and chamber, safety on. Yeah.
Safety on, round chamber, safety on.
That's interesting that you would ask specifically about like if it would change with a 1911 or not. Like,
Well, I think the what I wanted to hear you say was safety on. I think that's the takeaway there, is that with 19, what changes with the 1911, I think for me tangibly, is that I want a safety, and safety better be on, right?
well, yes. If you have, I would say with the exception of a gun like a DASA gun, like a Beretta 92, but like if you've got anything other than a gun where the first trigger press is a double action, if it has a safety, you should be using it. So
Excellent.
regardless of 1911 or not, like if you carry a P365 with the safety, the manual safety model, well, you should be using that manual safety on it. But yeah.
A non-gun related podcast you subscribe to?
Ooh, interesting. What's the name of it? Shoot. I listened to a bunch, and I've got a bunch in my library, so I just want to make sure I give the name correctly. So I'm going to my library right now. I'd have to go with, so non-gun related. The boy, I got a bunch I really like. You know what? Let's do this one. Hot Zone with Chuck Holton. That is an awesome podcast. Chuck Holton is a like career-long journalist, news correspondent guy. He's spent a lot of time in war zones and overseas and in various interesting locations in his career. So he has a broad experience that he brings to his show, and he talks about a lot of different issues, and every time it's all very interesting to me. It's a very fascinating podcast. So that's Hot Zone with Chuck Holton.
A podcast that is firearm related, that's not one that's part of our network, that you would recommend?
The American Warrior Show. That's an easy one. I mean, there's several really good ones out there, but that is like Mike Seeklander and
Rich Brown.
Jeez. I kept wanting to say Mike Brown for whatever reason. Obviously, Mike Seeklander and Rich Brown. Top-notch content, top quality stuff, and a broader range of topics than you would expect at times. I mean, sometimes it's health and nutrition related or medical related. A lot of shooting stuff too. But yeah, really great podcast.
One handgun you strongly suggest nobody buys for self-defense?
Ooh. For self-defense.
Yeah. Do not buy this gun for anything related to self-defense.
Bond arms. The 2-barreled Derringer style. And here's the reasons why. There's a heavy size or weight to size ratio. They're very heavy for their size. Their ergonomics are not very good, and you're limited to 2 shots. And they're not very accurate at all. So, yeah. It's that or the Taurus Judge. But the Taurus Judge, I would say, is a bit better than the Bond Arms Derringer things. Because you can actually shoot, well, you can get a Bond Arms in 45 Colt, but you can shoot 45 Colt out of a Taurus Judge, and at least you get 5 rounds. So it wins on basis of that, but barely.
This is a tough hypothetical because it's obviously just not really ever going to happen. But imagine if every concealed carry in America was forced to carry just one the same make and model gun, right? Like, so like having a permit meant you had to carry
Ooh.
X gun. What would that gun be? Like if everyone had to carry the same gun, if you could just if you had to recommend one gun for all concealed carriers, what's that gun?
Ooh, that is a really interesting question. Wow, I did not expect that one. If everybody had to carry just one model of gun,
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're gonna eliminate all guns out there and just manufacture one handgun for now on. What would it be?
hmm, hmm. I would say, boy, I could almost put. I mean, I want to say the Glock 19, but I recognize that there would be those that would be challenged in carrying that. The P365, I would say, or something similar to the P365 in size. So you can lump with that the Hellcat or whatever.
Shield Plus, maybe. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would say that's a little too small to expect that that's what everybody should carry and use. So I think you kind of have to go in the middle, and I'd say P365 XL, because, and I speak of that from coming from a guy that has pretty large hands, right? But I can shoot the P365 XL quite well and manageably, and it's going to be a nice size for those with smaller hands. And it's just small enough, I think, that people can actually be expected to have a good chance to conceal it well. I would say the Glock 48 or 43X, but honestly, the grips on those are a bit longer and a bit bigger, and so I gotta throw it to the P365 XL. I think it has I think it's the right sweet spot that just about anybody could carry that, conceal it, and also shoot it pretty effectively.
How do you feel about expanded slash universal background check legislation, and why do you not support it?
I think it should be banished. Why don't I support it? I don't support expanded or universal background checks because all of that's based around a system that has to work and has to be flawless, and the system isn't. So, what's the point in expanding things or making things universal in that regard? Uh, but the bigger issue than that is that what does it solve? And it doesn't, like, if the goal is to prevent crime with guns, then universal background checks don't accomplish that. There is zero evidence in all the time that we have had background checks of any kind for firearms that there's been a result, a positive result in reduction of crime. Everybody knows, like, criminals are going to criminal. So, like, if we're going after crimes and criminals, then we need to institute policies, I believe, that actually go after criminals. It's the law abiding that comply with things like background checks.
What's the one dry fire tool you could not live without?
Dry fire tool. Ooh, that's a good one that I could not live without.
Yep. If I'm gonna take away all your dry fire crap and leave it with just one thing. That's the only thing you're allowed to use for the next 12 months. What is it?
So that's the thing. Like, the beauty of dry fire is that I can do it with just my gun. I don't really need a lot. I'd have to say, and I consider this to be a dry fire tool, I'd have to say it'd be a shot timer.
Mm.
Uh, so if you took away my shot timer, then that would be really difficult. I could still do dry fire. I just wouldn't be able to do it in the way I do it currently as effectively. I could have thrown, something out like the SIRT pistol or something, but I could do without that. And they're great to have. They're great tools. Other dry fire tools are all great, but the one, if I have my live fire gun that I have unloaded and made safe, and I'm following all safety protocols, and I have a shot timer, there pretty much isn't anything that I can't do.
What is, in your opinion, the most dangerous anti-gun legislation you've seen to date, or that you've seen proposed, or that's been passed?
Ooh. Oh,
We've
wow.
seen some pretty ridiculous things, so you could mention one of those things, or you might think of something that's a little bit more mainstream and exists maybe in some states.
Huh. Oh man, that's a good question. Most dangerous. I mean, like currently right now, and this is not necessarily legislation, but it could become so. But the ATF, has been wanting to. They've proposed that a set of rules that modifies how firearms are defined, and that's kind of on the roadmap as of right now with the ATF open for comments, and like that, I think is an incredibly dangerous slippery slope that we are on, because I mean, essentially, I think that could be taken to define so many things as firearms, and that could be used in very dangerous ways to limiting Second Amendment rights.
Of the various shooting skills or fundamentals, which do you think is the most important or foundational?
Yeah. So, oh man, if we're sticking to the traditional fundamentals, I'd say grip. That grip is something that most people do wrong and don't do strongly enough for the type of shooting they're trying to do. But outside of that, and it kind of goes back to one thing I've changed my mind about in the last 5 years, and I would include this as like a fundamental of sorts. I guess you said skills, shooting skills, but paying more attention to what you actually see and what you are actually looking at and what you're focused on when you're shooting. Like, so the vision component of shooting, again, I'm of the belief it is the most important underappreciated skill that's out there. Like, because we tend to not give it enough respect, because we just think that, oh, I just look at the target, or I look at my sights and I align the two. Like, we just don't, like, we're so used to just going about our daily lives and looking at everything in our world. We don't think about how we look at things. And once you start analyzing how and what you actually are paying attention to visually, like, then you can start unlocking some of the power of what you can do with a gun in your hand.
What is your all-time favorite pistol to shoot?
P320 X5, as built by Gray Guns. And yeah, I'm sponsored by Gray Guns. And yeah, I'm a quote unquote SIG fanboy, as some people have called me. But I love the way the gun shoots. I mean, it's awesome. I just shot it in a major match a few days ago. And like, the gun runs awesome. I personally can shoot better. I can perform better, and I hope to my next major match. But the gun itself ran like a champ. Shot awesome. Yeah, the P320 with the Gray Guns trigger in it. I mean, I just measured my trigger with my trigger pull weight thingy, and it's 2.5 pounds. Now that's on my competition gun. Like, that's crazy, right? Like, there's tons of 1911s out there that don't have 2.5 pound triggers. They're like
And
4 and 4.5 pound triggers. So like, it's a very smooth, even 2.5 pounds. You apply to that, and it goes bang. And the gun cycles and returns back to target more predictably than anything else I've shot to this point for me.
best concealed carry belt.
And can I expand on that just a brief moment?
Oh, you want
I
to go
just want
back
to
to your
say,
X5?
what I just said about, and it returns back to target more consistently than anything else I've shot to this point for me. That is one of those vision things that I'm talking about. Recognizing when your gun is the sooner you recognize that your gun's back on target and ready to be fired again, the sooner you can shoot. And the sooner you can predictably shoot. And people want to know, like, this is the big question, the age-old question. How do I shoot faster with good accuracy? Or how do I get, maintain accuracy and get faster at shooting my gun? The secret is recognizing when the gun is back on target sooner, or being able to predict when it's going to be back on target based on a whole bunch of things. I can't get into the details right now. Like, that is the magic sauce. If you want to suggest there is such a thing to shooting, but it's very vision related, because
You
until
just
you
lost your star. You went over 60 seconds.
Okay, well, until you recognize when that happens, you don't get faster and more accurate.
Good stuff, but you still don't get a sticker. Best concealed carry belt.
The Foundation belt, EDC Belt Company.
Good
Yes.
thing Brian's watching, so he would have been angry. Best duty belt.
Oh, interesting question. So, and man, I can't even remember the brand of the one I ran back when I was doing such things.
Probably a Safari
I
Land.
think it was a Safari Land, I think.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. So I'll say Safari Land.
They have pretty good market share.
I'd have to go look at that thing, man. It's been gathering dust for a while.
Riley, what is a high capacity magazine?
Anything greater than a standard capacity magazine.
Nice dodge. Name 3 firearm instructors that have been influential to you as a shooter. You already mentioned Rob Latham, so I'm going to black that one out and say you can't mention him again.
So, Mike Seeklander. You said 3, right? So you
3.
included Rob Latham. Yeah, I mean, I'd still include Mike. Now we start getting a lot, like, there's been a lot of influential instructors. And again, I don't want to, like, offend any of my dear friends that
Too bad. You can only name 2 more
that are mentors and instructors, of mine, and influential to me. I'll go with Matt Little. And man, I'm sorry, Scott, and I'm sorry, Tim.
I said you could name 3 other than Rob.
Oh, other than Rob.
Right. We blocked Rob out. So
Sorry,
Mike, Matt, and you get 1 more.
Yeah. And Matt, because of our long chats and conversations, and that's just been very helpful to me in guiding me. Man, but still it comes down to, like, Scott Jelinski or Tim Herron. And, like, that's hard, brother. That's hard to leave one of those guys out.
So
So
you just cheated. You named 4. So
I just
named
them so you guys know who they are.
Yeah. Cheated. Your favorite drill to run at the range?
You know what? Those are bonus influential instructors. I just remembered I got to put Brian Enos on there. So let's say Rob Latham, Matt Little, and Brian Enos. There you go. And Scott and Tim, I love you.
Cheater.
But it's true, because Brian Enos's book has been massively influential to me. And I should have read it.
We're going to talk about books later.
A long time ago.
Yeah. We're going to more. We have book questions on this list.
Goody.
Yeah. What did I just say? I asked you a question. Oh, your favorite drill to run at the range?
Bill drill.
Laser aiming devices on defensive handguns, good or bad?
Contextually dependent, but for most people, not necessary. I wouldn't classify as good nor bad, just not necessary for most people in most contexts.
Your go-to safety glasses?
Hunter's HD Gold. Yes.
Why? This is your chance.
Okay, so the big thing that Brian over, the owner of Hunter's HD Gold over there, and, like, I remember meeting him just over a year ago, and he's like, look, the these glasses will be the perfect for any lighting conditions that you're going to experience. And I remember, up to that point, I had clear glasses and I had tinted glasses. So if it was really bright, I'm wearing tinted. If it was not, or indoors, I'm wearing clear. And like that was kind of a frustrating thing for me. So that was very appealing to me. So I can wear one pair of glasses and work in all lighting conditions. And it's true. Like I've worn those driving at night. Like that's how well you can see with them. But at the same time, worn them on bright sunny days in the desert. No problem. Okay. I mean, they are photochromic or whatever the right terminology is. So they darken with brighter light and so on and so forth, right? So there's that advantage. But then the color, see, I've always been attracted to tinted lenses that have sort of a brownish tone. These are yellow gold, right, colored. So they enhance colors the same way that I already prefer to see them. Here's the thing. Hunter's HD Gold glasses, I've never shot with anything that I liked more. They enhance contrast of targets so I can see them better, which helps me shoot better, and they work in any condition of light. That's a huge, like I can't overstate how important that is.
Which shooting match of the year is your favorite to attend?
USPSA Nationals. I mean, it's the biggest event. I'm only going there for my second time later this year, and like it is the ultimate of practical shooting tests. I mean, the best shooters in the world are in the U.S. Arguably, there are some in the world that are not there that are very, 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 very good, but it is the ultimate test. So I am not satisfied by, like, some people would answer that question, be like, well, such and such match was the most fun match, therefore it's my favorite because they had the coolest props or this or that. But for me, I get my satisfaction out of proving myself against the standards in the sport, and where you do that is at a major match like nationals.
Something that's related to concealed carry that you're embarrassed to admit you did.
Well, the first pistol I ever carried concealed was a high point, not the 9mm version, the 380 version. And you want to hear my reasoning why I bought that one? Besides the fact it was like $10 cheaper, is because it looked slightly cooler. Because the 9mm version was all black, but the 380 one had like the silver, like, I mean, it was just uncoated steel, but like it was like two-tone, right? So I was like, the 380 ACP high point pistol, CW 380 or whatever they call it, CP, something like that, in an Uncle Mike's holster. But I was like barely 21 years of age, just got a concealed carry permit, didn't know crap. I mean, I grew up around guns. I hunted. I knew how to shoot. And guess what? That's where a lot of people start. And you don't know what you don't know. And it's embarrassing, but guess what? You learn and you grow up and you move on.
Do you still have the gun?
No, sold it to my friend.
Yeah.
I think he still has it.
The biggest mistake people make in USPSA.
Biggest mistake.
Consistently. Like if you could give one piece of advice that would have a massive impact on a lot of USPSA competitors.
That's an interesting question.
Thank you.
It's interesting because I haven't really thought about that specific question. What is the biggest mistake people make in USPSA shooting? I think it could be equated to a similar mistake that's made in the defensive shooting arts, if you want to call it that. And that is gear chasing, right? That thinking, and in USPSA, it might even be a little bit of like division chasing. What do I mean by that? It's, well, I could be better than I am if I had XYZ thing or gun. Or, I could be better if I shot open division instead of production. right? Thinking that the arrow is going to make you, the Indian, somehow better. And that's the biggest fallacy.
What hollow points do you carry in your gun?
Federal HSTs.
Your favorite gun-related YouTube channel? Not the one we're broadcasting on right now. That you can't say that.
Gun-related YouTube channel. That's another good one. Because there's many I could put on that list, and I kind of go in, like cycles, if you will. Like I tend to sort of binge certain things, and just kind of depending where my mind is as of late. So right now, I'd have to say it's Ben Stager's YouTube channel. I've been binge watching a lot of the Practical Shooting Training Group podcast episodes, or Practical Shooting After Dark, or whatever he calls it. Yeah, Practical Shooting After Dark. So that, my mind has been focused there a little bit more as of late. Like I'm talking like the last 2 weeks. So I've been like watching a ton of those. In 2 weeks, that'll probably be different.
What is your favorite collector or antique firearm? Yeah, maybe if you could own one gun, what would it be? Kind of idea.
I'd love to have an original Thompson submachine gun, World War II era, fully automatic. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a vision. Do you recommend people wear body armor? And I'm curious to hear both on and off the range.
So yeah, like that's a great question. I would say at one time, as a lesser experienced instructor, I was more privy to do that because, especially when you're working with students of a skill level that you don't really know very well ahead of time. So you don't know who you're working with. And I would say that there was a lack of confidence in my skills as an instructor to be able to manage risk or mitigate risk. But I would say that I don't necessarily have a recommendation for people whether they wear body armor on or off the range. I think that's a decision everyone needs to make. I'd say where I am at, I don't really do it. There's a few public ranges I've been tempted to wear body armor, even in recent history. Maybe that's not a bad idea because you see all kinds of yokels shooting guns, but I'd say generally no. I mean, but you got to make the decision for you. So as an instructor now, I feel a lot more like I'm a lot more confident in the procedures that I put in place to ensure that I and others are safe.
What is one book that every gun owner should read?
Practical Shooting, Brian Enos.
What's one book that every competitive shooter should read?
Oh, well, there's that one, I guess. So let me throw back at you to the first question answer. One book every gun owner should read. How about Law of Self-Defense by Andrew Branca? Because I know that's not a gun book, but that is equally important to understand, if not more so, than how to shoot. So know the laws, and I can't think of a better book to explain the laws. Mm-hmm. The best, or the book that every competitive shooter should read. And again, to this, I would actually amend that question to say the one book every shooter should read, not necessarily a competitive shooter, would be Brian Enos's book, Practical Shooting Beyond the Fundamentals. Now, that with a caveat that there's going to be some stuff that you read in that book that's going to go over your head and you're not going to comprehend until later on. And that's okay. So I'd recommend you read it multiple times, like a year apart for several years. I've read that book 3 times in the last 18 months. And each time I read it, I get different things out of it. It's like reading or studying the Bible, and you're going through and you're like, wow, that never stood out to me before, but now it does. It's because where you are in that moment in your life at that time is unique and different from where you were the previous time you read it. So your world experience has now fed into that differently. Your perspective is different. It's more broad. You've got greater wisdom to go along with now what you're reading. And so now other things stand out to you. Other connections are made. And so read Brian Enos's book, but just know that it's okay. Like, you don't have to understand everything. Read it, try to understand it, take from it what you can, go implement those things, and then revisit it like a year later. And you're going to get more value out of it, and more value again and again and again.
You have 5 children. What do you say to people who say, you have too many kids, man?
Well, what do I say? I have too many kids. I guess I don't say anything. I don't know. Like, okay, thanks for expressing your opinion. I don't know.
So maybe a better question. What's it like to be a father of 5?
Busy. Hectic. I'm excited for them to go back to school next week. I mean, I love my kids. But you and I, we work mostly from home. So I try. I mean, I know you do too. You're just probably better at it than I am. Try to minimize the distractions to work from the home office. But that can be really challenging when there's 6 other people in this household that, demand attention at various times. So, but I love my kids, and, we got to be good parents. We got to be good fathers and mothers, however many kids we have. And if we don't have any kids, like, I hope that there are other people's children, or other people just in general, that you take under your wing, and that you care for and mentor, and that's what life's all about, is the familial or family like relationships that we have. And broader than that, it's community, and it's nation and country. And, like, there's a lot of problems in our current world that could be solved with people just going back to being, having better families, being better caretakers of one another. So, yeah, I didn't expect to go off on that tangent, but I love having 5 kids. I wouldn't trade any of them in. And, yeah, it's fun. It's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
This is our last question, Riley. What is one message that you would like to give to every concealed carrier in America?
One message. I will take this opportunity to explain the motto that we close every podcast episode with. Train right, train often, train safe, fight hard, fight fast, fight true. Train right means make sure you're training the right things in the right ways, because perfect practice makes perfect, right? Like, if you're practicing wrongly, then that's not benefiting you. So train right. And that also means that you're putting effort into your training. If you're not putting in effort, you don't get better. That's just a fact of life, no matter what it is you're trying to get better at. Train often. You need to be doing it often. Every day is the most ideal. Multiple times a week, once a week, I don't know, whatever you can manage. And we have a specific way in our company that we define things like practice versus training versus learning. But I'm using this in a pretty broad sense. Train often. If that's 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day of dry fire practice, and you're only able to make it to the range once every 2 weeks, we'll do that, okay? And if you can up the number of times you can go to the range, then work towards that. But your current lifestyle may not permit that, and that's the way it goes. So do what you can do and do it often, because often is doing things often and with regularity is how we get better at skills. Train safe. That's pretty safe, self-explanatory. We need to be safe in all we do, but not just train in a manner of safety, but also train safety. Practice proper gun handling with everything that you do. You pick up and this is not a SIRT pistol, but this is actually just a blank, well, it's got a firearm control module, whatever, FCU in there, but this is just a grip module, right? Every time you handle this, point it in a safe direction. Only put your finger on the trigger when you are aiming it at a target that you've identified and determined that you can shoot that target. Just always be training safety so that it becomes second nature, subconsciously ingrained. Fight hard. Man, like I remember a lecture I went to when I was working in law enforcement in a part-time volunteer capacity. And I remember the presenter talking about that cops, this is not true for every cop that gets killed in the line of duty, but there are many, many, many examples of officers, and this could be said of anybody that finds himself in a fight to the death. But many officers are killed in the line of duty that give up at some point during the fight. So never give up, never give in, fight for everything, and make sure that like, what's your mission? What's driving you? What's motivating you? What's most important to you? Well, I have a family. We just talked about 5 kids, and I've loved them very dearly. And I want to make sure I'm there for them. More than anything, I want to make sure I'm there for my kids. So, like, if something bad happens and you're in a deadly fight of some kind, don't ever stop fighting. Just keep fighting. All right. At the very least, if you still don't come out victorious on the other side, well, you fought an honor, you died an honorable death. But don't die a death what's the word? Ignominious death, right? A shameful death. Like, give it everything 100% right up to the very end. Fight fast. Well, work on being faster. Work on your physical strength. Work on anything that helps you be faster. That's a good thing. And then fight true. And I think of that part of our motto or slogan as being making sure that you know the laws, and that you're fighting, like that you're staying within the bounds of legal and moral / ethical constraints in a fight. So yeah, I don't know. I don't remember if we've ever defined that very much in depth, or at least it's been a long time since we talked about those things, but that's what those things mean to me. So I know that's a long-winded answer to what's the one thing I want to tell every concealed carrier in America, but I just want you to know, like, there was thought put into those words we say at the end of every episode, and I hope that you would apply those principles, because if you do, I think you'll be better and stronger and wiser concealed carriers for it.
Well, that was more than 60 seconds. So
I
it's
know.
another strike against your sticker. But
did I get 3 strikes then?
Yeah, 3 strikes. Yeah, I guess
I'm
that means
out.
you're
Guess
you're
what?
out.
Podcast is over.
That's right. This is the end of the
hour.
show. We have to kick Riley out now because he got 3 strikes. That was a fantastic response. And so, a reminder: today's episode is brought to you by Hunters HD Gold eyewear. You can find that at concealedcarry.com /Hunters HD, and the Foundation Belt at concealedcarry.com /Foundation Belt. We appreciate Riley being a good sport with us today with this little role reversal and our rapid fire episode. Remember to subscribe to the show and to tell a friend, share it with somebody, make sure that everybody's growing and being better. we can all improve, and we all have spare time. We can be listening to something as awesome as this podcast. So please tell a friend, share it, send a link to somebody. Maybe send it to a Facebook message or put it on your profile or something. Let's reach more people, and we appreciate everything that everyone does as it relates to listening to our show and to patronizing our company and buying things from our website and helping us out that way as well. So with that, thank you, Riley Bowman. People, you can learn more about Riley Bowman at concealcarry.com. Thanks for being a guest on our show.
Thanks for having me. My
remember,
pleasure.
with that, this is the end of episode 10, season 3. Remember to train right, train often, and train safe so you can fight hard, fight fast, and fight true. Take care.
Take care.